Trustees fired 2 workers after this fight at the last meeting last week. One of those workers, Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard's boyfriend, Paul Woods. He ran the township youth program. Also fired another employee, William Moore. Both had been suspended before the township brawl for work performance.
Chaos erupts in Thornton Township. 2 employees just got the axe after a wild brawl at last week's meeting. One of them, Tiffany Henyard's own boyfriend, Paul Woods, who ran the township's youth program. The other, William Moore. Both were already on thin ice, but after that explosive fight, the trustees made it official. Fired. What really went down? And why was Tiffany's inner circle caught in the fallout? Stay locked in. This one's messy. Tiffany Henyard just took another massive hit. 2 of her closest allies, including her married boyfriend, are out. Fired. Gone. After that wild brawl at the Thornton Township meeting, trustees didn't hesitate to clean house. But where is Tiffany? Nowhere to be found. She skipped both public meetings, dodging questions about the financial mess exposed by Lori Lightfoot's investigation. Millions of dollars gone, village funds drained, and now her inner circle crumbling. Is this the beginning of the end for the so-called Super Mayor? Drop a comment below, because this story is far from over. Hey guys, I am Olivia. Welcome to Red Rumbles, where the gloves are off, and the truth hits harder than a heavyweight punch. From explosive celebrity drama to intense boxing showdowns and political chaos, nothing stays buried for long. If it's messy, controversial, or shaking up the headlines, you'll find it right here. Stay locked in because the twists keep coming, and you don't want to miss a second of it. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because when the heat turns up, Red Rumbles brings it all to you first. Now let's get into it. Thornton Township just dropped the hammer, and the fallout is shaking up everything. 2 of Tiffany Henyard's closest allies, Paul Woods and William Moore, are officially fired. The reason given? Poor performance. But let's be real, this is about more than just job duties. Paul Woods wasn't just an employee. He was Henyard's boyfriend, handpicked to run a youth program with 0 real qualifications. His connection to Henyard put him in a powerful, taxpayer-funded position. But what did he actually do? Residents have been questioning where the money went, what programs he ran, and why nothing ever seemed to improve. Then there's William Moore, another loyalist of Henyard's. His firing comes after he was caught in the middle of the infamous Thornton Township brawl, a chaotic government meeting that turned into a full-scale fistfight. Both men were already suspended, but now they're out for good. The timing couldn't be worse for Henyard. With Lori Lightfoot's investigation digging into Thornton Township's finances, these firings look less like routine terminations and more like damage control. Meanwhile, Henyard skipped the meeting entirely, avoiding the chaos and refusing to answer questions. What do you think? Were these firings justified? Or was this just political retaliation? Was Paul Woods getting paid for nothing? Or was he unfairly targeted? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This story isn't slowing down anytime soon. Paul Woods went from collecting a taxpayer-funded paycheck to getting thrown out of his job. And it's not just the firing that's making headlines. His relationship with Tiffany Henyard turned him into a public spectacle. And now the backlash is hitting hard. Henyard put Woods in charge of Thornton Township's youth program, a position with power, influence, and a nice salary. But what exactly did he do? Residents have been asking where the programs are, where the money went, and why nothing was being accomplished. Critics say Woods was nothing more than a political pet, benefiting from Henyard's authority while doing little in return. Then came the Thornton Township brawl, where Woods was caught on camera throwing punches in the middle of a government meeting. A public official, who was supposed to be setting an example for young people, was instead tossing tables and swinging fists like it was a street fight. That was the last straw. The township had no choice but to cut him loose, officially terminating his position. Henyard has been silent, refusing to comment on why she put him in that role in the first place. But the bigger question is, was Woods just another pawn in her political game, or was he always in over his head? What do you think? Was this firing long overdue, or was he just another casualty in Henyard's sinking ship? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tiffany Henyard had 2 major public meetings to attend this week. One for Dolton, where she's the mayor, and one for Thornton Township, where she's the supervisor. She skipped both. After weeks of public outrage, shocking financial revelations, and a violent brawl at the last township meeting, residents expected Henyard to finally address the chaos surrounding her leadership. Instead, she was a no-show, dodging accountability yet again. While trustees and officials scrambled to clean up her mess, Henyard was nowhere to be found. This comes right after Lori Lightfoot's independent investigation exposed massive financial mismanagement under Henyard's watch. Millions of dollars vanished, taxpayer money was recklessly spent, and public services were neglected, all under her leadership. People wanted answers. Why were credit card charges skyrocketing? Why was the village suddenly drowning in debt? Henyard had the perfect chance to respond, but instead she disappeared. The silence is telling. While the residents of Dolton and Thornton Township struggle to make sense of the financial mess, their mayor is missing in action. The question is, where is Tiffany Henyard? And why is she refusing to face the people who elected her? Is she afraid of the backlash? Or is she plotting her next move behind closed doors? Let's talk about it. What do you think Henyard's absence really means? Drop your thoughts in the comments. It started as a heated Thornton Township meeting, but within minutes, it exploded into a full-blown brawl. Tables flipped, punches flew, and chaos erupted right in front of stunned residents. And who was in the middle of it all? Tiffany Henyard and her inner circle. Her married boyfriend, Camel Woods, was seen throwing punches, while William Moore, another Henyard ally, was caught in the mix. Instead of leading the township with professionalism, these two were fighting like street thugs in a public meeting, all while collecting taxpayer-funded paychecks. Their behavior was so outrageous that township officials had no choice. Both men were fired. It's one thing to be accused of shady dealings behind closed doors, but when the entire township watches your employees brawl on camera, there's no hiding from it. The firings came swiftly, but why were they even on the payroll in the first place? Camel Woods had no qualifications for his youth program position, yet was handed a paycheck thanks to his relationship with Henyard. William Moore was another Henyard loyalist, protected until his involvement in the fight made it impossible to ignore. Instead of answering for her reckless hires, Henyard was nowhere to be found when they got fired. But the damage was done. A public fight, a mayor's boyfriend exposed, and jobs lost. Was this the breaking point for Henyard's administration? Let's hear it. Did these firings go far enough? Or should more heads roll? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Before Tiffany Henyard took office, Dolton wasn't drowning in financial chaos. In fact, the village had a surplus, a cushion that kept things stable. But fast forward to today, and millions of dollars are gone, replaced by a deficit so massive that trustees are scrambling to fix the damage. So where did the money go? Records show a ridiculous spike in spending once Henyard got her hands on the village's finances. Credit card expenses skyrocketed from about $100,000 to over $700,000 in just 1 year. Taxpayer money was used for luxury dinners, expensive trips, beauty services, and a long list of personal perks. And it didn't stop there. In Thornton Township, Henyard pulled the same stunt, quietly increasing the credit card limit from $30,000 to $200,000. That's not a small adjustment. That's a mayor recklessly burning through public funds with zero accountability. Even when Lori Lightfoot's investigation exposed the financial mismanagement, Henyard refused to answer for it. Instead, she skipped public meetings, dodging the very people demanding answers. Trustees are now working overtime to reverse the damage, but with millions unaccounted for, how much of this can actually be repaired? And let's be real, if these spending patterns were found in any other administration, wouldn't there already be legal consequences? What do you think? Is it time for the feds to step in? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tiffany Henyard's reckless spending, shady hires, and blatant misuse of taxpayer money have raised enough red flags to practically guarantee federal involvement. When public funds start vanishing and financial reports don't add up, it's only a matter of time before federal investigators start connecting the dots. Lori Lightfoot's independent investigation already laid out the blueprint. Henyard and her administration misled the public and hid critical financial details to cover up the mess. Thornton Township's funds were drained at an alarming rate, with credit card spending limits quadrupling overnight and money flowing into questionable hands. Dolton, once financially stable, now faces a deficit so massive that trustees are scrambling for solutions. And let's not forget nepotism at its finest. Henyard placed her married boyfriend in a well-paid position he was completely unqualified for, all while ignoring the growing calls for transparency. Federal investigators look for patterns of corruption, and this is textbook. If local officials can't get her to answer for the financial disaster, the feds will. Fraud, misuse of public funds, and potential racketeering, these aren't small accusations. And when the feds come knocking, they don't miss. How long do you think it'll take before an indictment is filed? And do you think Henyard will actually face real consequences, or will she slip away untouched? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Tiffany Henyard built her empire on deception, power grabs, and reckless spending, but every scandal, every missing dollar, and every dodged meeting is stacking up against her. The public outrage is louder than ever, and the walls are closing in. From financial mismanagement to a full-blown physical brawl, she's no longer just a mayor, she's a walking controversy. Her absence from critical meetings, the firings of her closest allies, and the looming federal scrutiny paint a clear picture. This isn't leadership, it's a sinking ship. The same people she once controlled are now turning against her, and the list of officials demanding answers keeps growing. With trustees exposing her spending habits and state officials watching closely, the question isn't if her reign will collapse, but when. What do you think? Will Henyard manage to dodge the consequences, or is her downfall just around the corner? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This is far from over.